What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marvlat, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Oh my gosh, folks. Let me talk to y'all real quick. I need y'all to understand something about this review we're about to do. I need y'all to just focus and listen in real quick. So, as you already know, Adult Swim has been going on for over 20 years. Let's just keep it a stack. It's been going on for over 20 years, and we've seen some great shows come out of there, right? Robot Chicken, The Boondocks, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, C-Lab 2021, Harvey Birdman, right? We've seen some great shows, Squidbillies. So much has evolved over time, from animated shows like those to live action shows like Loiter Squad was really good. Eagle Heart was underrated. Delocated was underrated. The Eric Andre show is a gem. We've seen different stuff come over to that side. And in the later years, it's probably not as strong as it used to be. And one show kept holding us afloat for so long, and that was Rick and Morty. And for 7 seasons at least, or maybe even more, 6, the show was not losing any steam. Right? We were wearing our t-shirts with it. We were finding our just love of this show. It was everywhere. It was everywhere we wanted it to be. They got into video games. The creators made a new video game, High on Life. That was good. They did so much different stuff. And we were like, man, they can't do no wrong. And then they got into some trouble. The voice actor Justin Rowland got into some trouble, which I'm not going to fully dive into, but that show single-handedly allowed the show's popularity to kind of take a dip. They had to find new voice actors, and the show didn't really, it did okay, and it's still going. There's another season coming out in May, right? But in the meantime, what happened was we just didn't know where to go. We had our anime block, we had our regular block, and then we kept showing reruns of old shows like King of the Hill and Family Guy. And one day, one man made a show that was really good, and it was called Common Side Effects. Now, I know a lot of people are sitting here going, well, what about Smiling Friends? Smiling Friends is all right, but this show is something different. There is some heat on Adult Swim that's still out there. Smiling Friends is one of them. My Adventures with Superman, since it's not technically, it's a half and half anime, and what's the one? Invincible Fight Girl, right? But this show was something different, something unprecedented, something nobody really was thinking about. It was just this random show. And even me, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. It was just a random show on Adult Swim. And you're like, you see this fat guy and he's just holding like a mushroom and a girl. And you're like, I don't know about this. This seems like something random that I'm not going to watch. And trust me, Adult Swim knows random. One minute you see a beautiful gem like Tom Goes to the Mayor. The next minute you're seeing your smiling faces going to hell. One minute you're seeing the Venture Brothers. The next minute you're seeing Moral Oral. And I wasn't a fan of that, even though a lot of people loved it. But anyway, as much as I can go on and on about Venture Brothers, I want to talk about Common Side Effects. This is a show that, even though it's not made by Mike Judge, it involves Mike Judge heavily because I think he has like 2 voices in the show. One of them being a character named Rick, who I actually love more than Rick Sanchez. I'm not going to hold y'all. That's my hill. I'm dying on it. 10 toes down. This man is one of my favorite characters. But anyway, if you didn't see the show, it's on Max right now because Adult Swim works closely with the Max program, the Max block, so they can play their shows the next day. This is a show about a man who discovers a mushroom in another country. He's from America, but he discovers a mushroom in another country, and this mushroom has the power to basically heal you of almost any ailment, like at all. Like you could have a disease, you could have dementia, you could have an actual gunshot wound. A guy stabbed himself in the hand, and it just healed his whole hand. And of course, as you already know, people are going to try to market it, or the fact that pharmaceutical companies didn't want this getting out, because if there is a mushroom that can heal anything, it would take away from the medicine that will temporarily ail you as opposed to actually healing you. So this mushroom, you can have a cold and in 5 seconds, you won't have a cold anymore. That to me is just something amazing. And I thought that this was really cool. It was a really cool idea, but it turned into a conspiracy theory. One of those like espionage thrillers, even though they didn't have much to do with spies, it turned into that kind of thriller vibe so fast. I was on the edge of my seat every episode because I just wanted to see Marshall basically do good in the world with what he discovered. And he didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands. People were trying to market it for money. People were trying to use it in the wrong ways. He just wanted to use it to heal actual sick people, not to play God, not to fool around and just try to make bread. He didn't care about the money. He just cared that he was doing good in the world. And when the show starts, he only has like a few mushrooms left, but he figures out how to make new mushrooms. He meets a girl named Frances who works for a pharmaceutical company that it's one of those fake pharmaceutical companies. So we don't need to know the name, but she works for this company and she's unhappy with her life. Her boyfriend is kind of like, he's just a lame. And her boss is just like, he's whack because his boss also lost the thrill of it all. Who was Rick? He lost the thrill of it all. He just was like, I'm just like here, whatever. Have legal drum up some shit, whatever. All he cared about also was getting bread. So everybody was piling up in their own story, right? Everybody was making their own story happen. And then the big bad was Jacob the Wolf. That was his nickname was the Wolf, but his name was Jacob, right? It was Jake the Wolf, right? Let me just make sure I got these names right here. It's funny. I went to IMDb. I typed in Common side effects, and I was like, "You meant Common?" No, Common's a dope rapper, but we're not talking about him right now. Anyway, yeah, Rick Kruger. Oh, that was his full name? I just thought it was Rick. Anyway, Jonas the Wolf. I'm sorry, Jonas. I don't know why I kept saying Jake the Wolf. Jonas the Wolf. See, this is why you gotta make sure you're saying the right things. Jonas the Wolf was a beast. Like by the second but it was funny how they made the tables turn. He didn't want the mushroom getting out because he didn't want it to ruin these companies, right? The pharmaceutical chain. And then what ended up happening was your man's developed, I believe it was cancer, but he developed I don't think they really brought it up like they did say he was going to die. They did say that it was only a matter of time and he was going to go out. But he needed the mushroom now. He needed the mushroom bad because he knew of what the mushroom can do. People showed him what the mushroom can do, and he eliminated those same people. And he needed the mushroom. And I love that kind of story, whereas like the villain is now in need of the assistance of the hero. And I love the fact that karma befell him because he didn't realize what he stumbled into. He did take the mushroom, but they were tainted by Marshall's teacher. You could say she was a teacher, and I ain't like her neither. I'll put her name up. You'll see it. I think it was Linda or whatever. But I didn't like her neither because she was marketing the mushrooms. So anyway, not to go all over the place with the story, but I just want to point out some things. I'll let y'all watch the story. If you haven't seen it, watch it on Max. If you have, we talking right now. So two of my favorite characters was Agent Harrington and Agent Copano, right? It was a nice little black and white mix, aka little Lethal Weapon vibes, but they were really good DEA agents. And man, they solved the heck out of this case. They knew what they were doing. And all the time while they were solving the case, there were times where they were bobbing in their car, listening to music. They became a really good team. And because they knew too much, the higher ups of the FBI and stuff split them apart. So that way they wouldn't figure out and try to maybe help Marshall, because they realized, Capono at least realized, yo, the FBI is in on this. Like, this is way over our heads. We got to find a way to save this man, not put this man back in jail. So they needed to figure those out. And I love that Capono came and helped. And Harrington went and was like, nah, I'm gonna get this job promotion. We're gonna be big stars. And Capono was like, it's not about that. It's about doing what's right. So it was a lot of choices of good versus evil. Thinking about oneself or thinking about helping others. Frances had that same situation because she thought, well, what if I can use the mushrooms and give it to my job and help expanded. Now I make more money, which she did. She got a promotion, became big dog, right? She got a top job, and it helped her make more money so she could take care of her moms, pay the bills of her rent, pay the bills of the old folks' home her moms were staying in. And then Marshall gave her moms the drug, and she saw the power that it had, because her moms had dementia. Now she didn't have dementia. She was able to climb trees until that tree took her. That tree took her out. We had to have a going home service for her because she fell off a tree. So I really love them cops, man. Those are two of my favorite characters in the show. My two other favorite characters, one was Rusty, because Rusty was with all the shits. My boy Rusty was with all the shits. He went out like a G. My man took his gun, right? My man, I don't even know I think he had an AK. It didn't matter. He took his gun, got on his motorbike, started riding it all across during the raid at the end of the end episode, and was shooting at helicopters, not caring about what was going to happen afterwards. My son was like, yo, let's go. Did not care. Went out like a G. Then they got him. He fell off his bike. He got back up. My man had like one eye just messed up. And he's just like one eye in it, riding back like, what's up? I don't care. And his dad tried to stop him. He was like, nah, bro, it's too late. The shit is already up to here. I'm with all of it. He went out like a G. And Rick Kruger was my guy because Rick was just saying everything off the rip. And he reminded me of those bosses. It's just like, yo, I'm in it for the bread, and I'm going to tell you how we going to get to it. That's it. He going to teach you how to stack this paper and make this paper and get fire cars and all of that stuff. And it just kept making me laugh. Even at the end when he's calling Francis on the phone, like mad times, like, yo, so I'm not trying to get legal involved, but you need to come back. Nobody's going to rock with me with this business. We need you. He kept trying to make bread. And at the end, he said, forget the medicine. He turned the mushroom into just like a food like additive, like just a spice. And it worked. And here's where it all goes wrong. So for next season, you got to look at the fact that there's a bigger picture we're not realizing, right? Marshall's brother got a bunch of turtles because Marshall had a turtle named Socrates that was the key factor in helping grow the mushrooms, because now he couldn't get the mushrooms from another country anymore. He had to grow them right here in America. So Marshall's brother got more tortoises, right? Capano got hit, almost died. Harrington gave him a mushroom, right? And now Harrington is she's out here looking for revenge. She is pissed. She wants Francis. She wants Marshall. She is gunning for them. They ended it with that. Her on a motorcycle, ready for war, right? Jonas is in a coma because he OD'd on too many tainted mushrooms, right? He's messed up. Old lady, she's on the vibe. She dumped a lot of the mixture of the mushrooms into a water reservoir, right? That's going to take over some town, wherever town they were at. Rusty passed away. His pops is pissed, right? So much different things are happening at the end. There was so many questions unsolved, cliffhangers to go through, conflicts that are going to arise in the next season. And the one thing nobody was paying attention to was the one thing that Marshall was kind of paying attention to, and Francis, which I hope they will explore more next season, which was the fact that every time you took this mushroom, you saw this little white chubby being, and we don't know what it was. It was just this little being that just kept walking around, and they would go to this world that was inhabited by this little white being that we don't know the name of. And in this world, Marshall was somehow able to send a message to Francis, and they weren't even near each other at the time. So this to me was insane, because now we need to know more about this white being. This white being got Francis' mom climbing a tree and trying to reach for it, and she fell and passed away. So we don't know if this white being is on the side of good or evil. Is it designed to make you make good choices or bad choices? But this is what makes this show great. It's a lot of what we know and love. And I love the fact that Mike Judge has voices with Rick and Rusty's dad, because it almost sounds like every time I hear him, I keep hearing Hank Hill, and I love that. Anyway, but it's so, this show, you know what? Let's just go to the ratings board and I'll give my final thought. So let's go to the ratings board. So we have the Nerds in the Hood ratings board here. If you know the slang of today's generation, you already know what these means, but I got the definition next to it just in case. This is such a sleeper hit of a show, and it's finally gaining steam because people are catching on. This show is very underrated, but it's so good of a gem that it's a valid ass show. And the reason why is because, like I said, and that's why I did that intro in the beginning, when you look at Adult Swim, sometimes you're always going to be looking for these weird shows where it's just like, what are we doing? Why are we going this way? Like I said, people love Smiling Friends. I just think it's weird. Lawyer Squad was funny to me. So was Eric Andre's show, but it was weird. Rick and Morty is funny, but it's scientifically weird. A lot of Adult Swim shows are just weird. And this is also weird too. But it's weird in such a good way. It's a guilty pleasure of weird that it made me keep pulling back up to my TV screen every single week for 10 weeks and just be entertained. And that's what we want. You could be as weird as you freaking want, but as long as the show is good and good, like without being too weird, y'all got me. Y'all got me. I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna be back next week and the week after and the week after. So kudos to this show. I have so many thoughts, but I don't want to go into a whole tangent. But I do want to say that I am excited for whenever season 2 drops. We're gonna see what Rick and Morty, season 9 brings. But if it don't pack the heat that the other past seasons have packed, we might have to give this crown to Common Side Effects when their season 2 drops. Because right now, I'm not going to hold y'all. I'm not going to say it's the greatest Adult Swim show of all time, right? Because there's others from the past, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like what am I forgetting? The Venture Brothers. Like, there's shows like that are just slightly above the edge. But if they keep going the way they're going, they have a legitimate shot of getting the GOAT title when it comes to Adult Swim shows. I said it. I definitely said it. Because we nerds in the hood. We don't care. Like Rusty, we with the shits. We want all the smoke. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to throw all that stuff out there. I know there's some characters I'm forgetting, but let's talk about it. Talk about your theories. Talk about what you think is going to happen, who you think is going to do what. I mean, my man Marshall, he got the girl at the end. That was a girl he was crushing on since high school. So it is kind of funny when you think about it, because most of this was based off of the fact that Marshall was simping. He was simping. And if he didn't simp, maybe most of this story wouldn't have happened. He probably would have hid out somewhere and made the mushroom. Or the old lady would have got him and we would have never seen it again. Who knows? But a lot of it was based on simping. Even she said it. She was like, did you share the secrets of a mushroom with a girl that you liked? He was like, damn, you right. Also, his brother was one of the funniest characters too. I remember when the little kid was like, little kid was in the pet shop tapping on the glass and he goes, hey, do you like that? Do you like that? Didn't know. So that was funny to me. His brother was wilding. His brother took drugs and was wilding, and I love that. But be that as it may, tell me your thoughts. Write it in the comments. Like, share. If you know somebody else that likes Common Side Effects, hit us up. We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it right in the comments. I'll write back. You feel me? So appreciate y'all watching. Oop, mic just fell. Appreciate y'all watching. Follow Nerds in the Hood on all social media using the link tree below. And I will check y'all on the next video. Till then, see y'all next time. Peace.